Yes, yes, the stars have aligned. All the clocks have clicked at the same time. We are with royalty, educational and political royalty. I'm here in the home of Dr. Alma Allen, and we're with the Allen family. Thank you all for this opportunity. Thank you very much. We're with royalty today. Yes, first we have Dr. Alma Allen, State Representative.
Hello.
We have Dr. Patricia Allen, former principal of McGregor Elementary. And we have Brother Lawrence Alvin Allen, my brother, HISD Liaison Officer, correct, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm your host, Baruti Carl Alexander. I have had a long connection with this family, and I'm so pleased to be able to meet and talk with them in their home. You have a cool, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us this morning. Thank you for joining us. Thank you all, everybody, for this interview and so forth. Me and Lawrence, we've had a long history from was it second grade or third grade?
Third grade.
Okay, third grade. Now, there's so many stories about that, but we're still here today. We're still being productive. We've had some ups and some downs, but look at us today, ladies and gentlemen. It says with fortitude and with determination, we can all succeed, because if I have made it and this brother has made it, everybody who puts their mind to it can make it. So we are very pleased today to tell this story and to tell this experience of what we have accomplished and what we are still going to do. So thank you very much. Today we're going to ask a few questions of the Allen family about education, about life, about different things, and we're going to go through a lot of different experiences. The first thing I would like to ask is, today, what do we believe that the state of education and the state of learning is? We have a lot of social media. We have a lot of different changes. People learn in many different ways. What do we believe that the state of education is for people and for kids specifically, and how they learn, and is that a good thing? Anybody? Dr. Allen?
The state of education and social media?
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
I think the two work together. I think it's a good thing that social media has come along. It has the technology that children have today, and gives them an opportunity to get to the information they want to know quicker, without, say, for an example, they don't always have to go to the library and dig through books like we had to do. They can simply Google it on their iPads or on their computers, and technology and social media is working well for our children today.
Yes, ma'am. Other comments on that? Now, what I see also with that is, as a teacher sometimes, and from research has said that most people spend 4 seconds to see whether they like a site or not. They spend 4 seconds. Is that enough? Is that enough for them to get a picture or understanding or an idea?
I think that's an individual thing.
Okay.
It may be 4 seconds for me, 10 seconds for you, a minute for somebody else. So I think it becomes an individual thing depending on how you learn and how much information you can retain in a period of time. So it comes down just to your learning preference.
I understand. Brother Lawrence, what's your comment on that?
Well, I would say to you that it would depend on what the purpose is for using that site or using that methodology. Because if you're just what they used to say surfing, you're probably going to stay on any site just a shorter period of time. But if you have a specific knowledge that you're looking for, and you have some idea that it could be found within that particular website, you're probably going to peruse it and to get to the definitive information that you're looking for. If it's an assignment you're working on and you've been assigned that site to work with, I believe you spend more time and have greater value in it. So I think the surfing concept is probably closer to the 4 seconds, but the research concept means to dig deeper and to spend additional time in finding answers that you're looking for.
So everybody agrees that social media, the internet, is pretty much a good thing for education. We all agree to that?
I agree to it. There's a vast amount of information on the internet, and the fact that you're only spending 4 seconds on a site means that that is not at your interest level. you can spend hours on the site once you have found your interest level, and you can find out whether that information is correct.
Okay, all right. Let me ask this question. We grew up together. When we were little running around the neighborhood, did you ever believe that we would make something of ourselves? You know, we was running around the house 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, so forth. Did you ever believe we'd make something of ourselves?
I sure did.
Okay.
I had high expectations for you, and I think every one of your parents had high expectations for you. And they made sure that you were in an environment where you could grow up and be productive. All of your parents wanted you to be successful. Your parents you came from educated parents.
Yes.
I think all of you, and you had an environment that was conducive. You had parents who expected you to do great things, even greater than they had done. I certainly did. And so we kind of like all pulled together. My house was the place where you played all the time. And so we made sure that that was okay. You had access to whatever we had.
We certainly had an extended family.
Oh, yes,
we had
you
an
did.
extended family because if I did something, you would have told my dad, and
Yes.
and it was extension of the whole community.
You all had a great support system.
Yes, ma'am.
And
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
proud of the success that all of you have made.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let me give an aside right here. My father, the Honorable Raymond Alexander, was on the state board. I think he got off in '84. Then Dr. Allen came on the state board at that particular time.
Yes.
And then after Dr. Allen, Brother Lawrence Allen has gotten on the state board. So there's a long history of political, educational, activism, and community support. So this is a long line, a long history. And as I say, royalty, educational and political royalty. So we have a coup, ladies and gentlemen, a great thing. Okay, the United States has been seen in certain polls, levels, to not be at the highest level of world standards as far as education. Other countries seem to put much more emphasis on it, and especially in science and math, our standards have not gone up to maybe India, China, or different things. Are there changes that we need to make in our educational system to increase, or does it fit our system of government, our system of culture?
I would like to say that I think that our educational system fosters creativity.
Okay?
If you want to say some of the things that were invented, the
Yes.
Steve Jobs, the
Yes.
Bill Gates, those come out of creativity. So I believe that our system, even though it always has some improvement to be done, that we are not behind anyone else.
Okay, okay. Any other comments on that?
Well, if you have an opportunity to travel abroad and get a closer look at what the educational system is really like, when we were attending the University of Houston, we had a chance to travel to the Bahamas and look at that educational system. While we were in Turkey, we had a chance to look at that system. So I was amazed that there were exit points for students, and in a sense that
What you mean by exit points?
you had to score in the top 5% in order to proceed to the next level.
Yes.
And so there are a number of students that fall out of the evaluations on how the country is doing.
Yes.
We are still in actively measuring every child and putting them in our data to say what we're doing. And we realize as educators that the country does not run on 100% of the students going through the system. It actually runs on about the top 20% of the students coming in. And I think we're producing that top 20 equal to any country in the world. I think our efforts of digging deeper to try to affect children at other levels is something that we should be very proud of. That we're actually saying, hey, whether we have special education, whether you have remedial learning, whether you have career in technology, whether it's in the interest. This is one of the few systems where it's geared towards the interest of the child and not the interest of the government.
Right.
And so I'm very proud of that fact. And I know, as my sister said, we are constantly evolving as we are entering into that system. Many people from various cultures. And if those other systems were so great, look at that system now and see how many people are traveling from the foreign system to participate in the system that we have here.
I agree. One question. There used to be a great emphasis on industrial education, wood shop, metal shop, auto mechanics. I remember when I went to school, there was auto mechanics. Should there be a more of an emphasis in the high school curriculum for that, or should that be left to maybe after high school, like the community college system? Do we believe that?
Well, I certainly believe that children should be introduced to a number of things. With a limited budget, schools are forced to make decisions about what electives they're going to offer children. And if a school has a wide array of electives and students have a chance to take a class here or there, then they're exploring things and trying to learn things. And I think we're doing that in the sense of trying to put the children in the work side instead of the old laboratory setting. And so a number of our students are going to NASA, they're going to Shell, they're going into the business place, and they're seeing the work firsthand and then trying to say, what motivates me? Versus saying, I'm going to make a bookshelf, I'm going to do something here, and hopefully I'll be able to go out and get a job. Because at that time, when we were taking the classes, there were no certifications. It was just an introduction to see if it was something that you would like doing. So I think we're doing a good job with that too, introducing students to a number of careers and a number of opportunities so that they can find that interest and then decide whether I want to go to community college and improve my skill sets there. So I don't think we need the old wood shop back, but we still need to introduce students to carpentry and plumbing and things of that nature.
And career education has not gone away.
Okay.
We are still doing career education, but we're also preparing children for the 21st century, which will be a technological age, and will be an age where students must have their STEM skills in place. That will be where the jobs are. And so as we prepare children for the 21st century, we must also give them an opportunity to have exposure to all of the careers. Now, a school may not have a automobile shop on the grounds as it used to be, but we have coalesced with automobile dealers to have students come to the dealership and train there. Kids still go to the hospitals and train. They have hands-on opportunities all around the city, all around the state, and so the method of getting them there may have changed, but all of the students have an opportunity to have that exposure.
I know in HISD they have what's called the magnet program that seems to have been a decent success. I don't know whether other districts around the country have a similar program. I assume that they do, but the magnet program here in Houston has been a pretty good success. I know at my former school, Rothschild Sterling, we had aerodynamics, where people got introduced to the airplane and fixing on the airplane, cleaning the airplane. So that's something that exposes them, like Brother Lawrence said. And if you can have an exposure, you can take it to the next level. I know when I was in school, I was exposed also to classical music. Well, really, my dad exposed me to classical music, but I took a course in it also, and that's something that not everyone might have been exposed to, but if you have the exposure, you can take it to the next level. So I think that's what you were talking about.
Yes, sir.
And that's a
magnet
good thing.
schools now expose the children at a very young age, so
Okay.
that even if they're not interested in the magnet focus that they have in elementary school, they have the opportunity to change schools and change the focus. So you don't start at Ross Sterling in the high school. You start all the way back from elementary school to hone in on your interest.
And tell them about the program that you had at McGregor.
At McGregor Elementary, they had several programs, but our magnet program was music and science.
Okay.
So the students were introduced to music at a very early age, introduced to science and NASA at a very early age. But there were other programs also that may not had the magnet monies, but we still had a culinary program where the children gardened and learned how to cook. We had chefs that came over to volunteer. We had people from the ballet that came over and came into the school to teach the children about that. We had a host of programs in the school to give those students exposure, so that even if they didn't get those exposures from home, they got those exposures from school. They may not have been funded by HISD, but they were funded by businesses and outside interests, so that the students have a wide variety of areas that they can focus in on.
Okay.
And keep in mind, Mr. Alexander, that magnet schools grew out of court order for integration. That was the purpose of it. And the programs were designed to attract students from one side of town to the other one. The purpose being that we would have 33% of the students in that school of one race, ethnic group, and 33 of another three, and basically in those days it was 33% black, 33% white, and 33% Hispanic. And in order to get your quota, you had to have a program that would attract students from one side of town to the other side of town. And so that's the, and I didn't want that to pass for magnet programs without saying that was the real purpose of the magnet programs in HISD.
Okay. At this point, we will take a short break to take a sponsor break, and we will be back in 1 second. Thank you very much. See you in a second.